Hey guys, Brad Browning here, or as a lot of people call me now, Breakup Brad. And of course, that's a nickname that I've been given because I am a breakup geek. And that's what my videos are all about. That's what I do for a living. It's what I spent the last decade helping people with. You know, breakups are just kind of my thing. It seems weird for a lot of people, but I love helping people like you win back an ex or get through a tough breakup. Which of course brings me to the topic of this video, which is going to be all about identifying the strategies and techniques that have been proven to work to win back your ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend. So if that is your goal, then stay tuned because you're about to see some firsthand proof of what actually works in the real world, the kind of stuff that's actually going to make your ex come crawling back to you, and what doesn't work and often just pushes your ex further away. Now, I do want to warn you guys here, I'm going to do some bragging in this video. I might come across as self-promotional, cocky, whatever, but I promise I'm not making this video up just to show off all my past clients' success stories. I'm just simply going to use some of these past clients and their experiences and stories to show you firsthand what people are doing to make their exes come running back to them. Now, if you want to be my next success story, just visit my website, breakupbrad.com, and watch the full free video that I've got on there and get started implementing some of these sneaky techniques that have been proven to work and to ensure that you're giving yourself the best possible chance at saving your relationship. Again, that's Breakup Brad to check out that video. And I know you want to get right into it, but just one last thing before we dive into this. The stuff I'm sharing in this video is all actually 100% real. These are real past breakup coaching clients of mine and subscribers. And in a few cases, I've changed or removed details that might identify my clients. But otherwise, like I said, you're looking at real clients that I've actually worked with and helped in the past. And most of them were in situations probably very, very similar to the one that you're facing right now. All right, let's get started. Now, I know that one huge concern for a lot of my viewers and my clients relates to the no contact strategy. You probably heard of that. It's my technique where I advocate ignoring your ex for a month or so after the breakup. And a lot of people are super skeptical of this strategy. So let's quickly look at some comments from people who've actually used the technique and who've been shocked at how well it works. So here's a really good one to begin with. This is a past coaching client of mine. And she sums up her success story and her experience using no contact really well. She basically just says it works incredibly well. And as soon as she started to ignore her ex, he started to call her nonstop. And he even later admitted that time apart made her ex worry that she might slip away for good if he didn't change his mind about the breakup and beg her to take him back. And that is exactly what happened a few weeks later, as you can see from that image there. All right, let's move on to another one here. This is a YouTube comment from Numba1Shoota1. And he's basically commenting on his experience using no contact on one of my YouTube videos on that topic. And for him, it was just 1 week into that no contact period when his ex actually just broke down and changed her mind about breaking up. She started texting me to tell me how much she missed me and how much she wants to get back together, he says. And again, this is after just 1 week of just not talking to his ex. And this kind of thing actually happens all the time because often, a few days apart can be enough to actually cause your ex to start doubting the breakup. But if you're talking to him or her daily still, you just never give them the chance to develop those feelings in the first place, which is often why no contact is effective just by itself, just by doing nothing else. Anyway, Numba1Shoota here, he says he loves me, no homo. So thanks, man. Love you too. All right, and here's another guy who's used no contact again with great results, Marcos Ferreras. I hope I'm saying that right. And he gets straight to the point, basically by just saying that no contact saved my life. I don't know about that, but I'm sure it helped him out. And then he credits that being what turned the tables for his breakup. And he just basically thanks me and said, can't thank you enough. And obviously, I love to hear those kinds of success stories, and I'm not surprised when I do receive them because no contact does work that well often. And it definitely was the key in this person's case and what allowed him to win his girlfriend back. Now, I've also got a folder in my inbox, email inbox, full of testimonials, and it's literally like half of them are no contact success stories. Most of them are a little bit too personal and confidential to share any details publicly. But here's one from a client who actually allowed me to share his email. It's a bit long, but to summarize, this client and I worked together for a few months. And finally, he was actually able to win back his ex, who is now his fiance. And after 3 weeks of no contact, he said, she literally started begging him to give her a second chance. And he even goes on to explain how his ex became truly desperate after a few weeks of just not hearing from him. And he credits that strategy, like the last guy, along with a couple other sneaky tricks that we came up with to help him out as well, with turning those tables, making his ex change her mind. And hey, now they're getting married. I think that email is actually a couple months old, so they might already be married by now. But anyway, either way, very inspiring success story and another clear example of no contact making the difference. Okay, let's almost done on this topic here, but let's just go through a couple other emails really quickly. Again, too much personal info to share here. But these two past clients of mine both had a huge success with no contact, and both are happily back together with their ex now. So this first email is from an awesome lady I worked with this last summer. And she had a different reason for praising my no contact technique. For her, it was actually the fact that she was forced to forget about her ex, to stop thinking about him 24/7, and to work on her own life, and change her own attitudes during the time that she spent not talking to him. And that was hugely important in getting her man back. And she also says thanks so many times in this email that I think she might be one of my favorite all-time coaching clients at this point. So keep the success stories coming, folks. Please, my ego loves them greatly. And back quickly to another YouTube comment here. This dude seems pretty happy with how well the technique worked out for him. I mean, as you can see, he says no contact made his ex come crawling back on her knees, and now they're happily back together. Sweet, congratulations. Another no contact success. And finally here, like I said, I can go on forever with these no contact success stories, but let's move on after this one. I needed to share this last one with you though, because it's pretty funny, and it also clearly illustrates how much this technique can actually just by itself make your ex miss you and really become desperate to hear from you again. So, in this case, in his previous email, this client had explained how he'd been ignoring his ex for a while at this point. And then out of the blue, after months of not hearing a single peep from his ex-girlfriend, she suddenly reached out to him with a text message, and it all went from there. And this happens all the time. You would be incredibly surprised to see how often this strategy works. And that's why a lot of the top breakup coaches like myself advocate this strategy, at least in some form or another, to make sure that you're giving yourself the best possible chance of getting your ex back. Now, although I'm not really a genius, I don't think, like this client has said in his email here, flattering as that may be, but no contact is a little more involved than simply ignoring your ex. There is a few nuances and things you might need to change or tweak for your own situation, and which is why my X Factor program explains exactly how to apply this strategy in a variety of situations you might be facing. So, if you have something unique, unusual about your breakup scenario, and you're not certain that no contact is the right way to go forward, then my program very likely has a specific plan designed in it just for your situation. So all you have to do is put that into practice and see how well it works for yourself. So let's move on here. I want to show you some more proof of the tactics that work for my clients and subscribers daily. And one of those techniques that seems to really be effective and to generate a lot of success stories is my clean slate email template. And again, this is explained in detail in my program. So please visit breakupbrad.com if you want all the details on how the clean slate template works. But here's what one past customer has said about the clean slate template. And essentially, he's crediting it with completely changing his ex's feelings and behavior towards him. He found my template here just in time, he says, when he signed up for my X Factor program, a month or so after the breakup. And I was actually able to help him modify and tweak the clean slate email to suit his unique situation. Happily, obviously, it seems to have worked, as you can see. And there's a lot of others here on YouTube and among my past coaching clients who have similar praise for this message template. Now, be careful using it yourself unless you've already got a hold of my program. You know exactly what you're doing and you're following my guidelines about this strategy. Otherwise, it can occasionally backfire. But like I said, follow the steps in my program and the clean slate template works wonders. And here's one last client who's also a huge fan of clean slate. As you can see from his comment, he says, clean slate and no contact are what saved his relationship. And honestly, I'm always happy to see this kind of success story in my inbox. Okay, so what else, other than those two things, are people having great results with? What techniques are working? A lot of the techniques that I teach are actually really subtle. They just involve small, simple changes you probably wouldn't think of that can actually have a huge impact on your ex and their feelings about the breakup and you in general. So, like for example, one of the things that I advise for people who continue to have to see their ex regularly interact, they can't avoid the interaction with their ex after the breakup. It's a pretty basic strategy that I recommend, and that's just to apply a limited no contact and simply use those encounters that you can avoid to just have some small talk, make your ex laugh, and show them how well life is going since the breakup, because that's going to really make you look a lot better in their eyes. And those kinds of simple strategies, they really work well, and a lot of people don't recognize how effective just a simple change in your behavior can be. Another thing I talk about in the program involves jealousy, and how to use jealousy to subtly shift your ex's feelings about you without being obvious, without setting off your ex's alarm bells and making them think you're just a creepy stalker kind of guy or girl. Now, this is a real problem because most people, they don't really know what they're doing. They try to wing it. They let emotions get a hold of them. And when they try to make their ex jealous, it backfires. Their ex sees right through it. And that's why I have sort of modified this technique a little bit and made it so that you can use jealousy safely, without setting off those alarm bells in your ex's mind. If you want to learn more about how to use jealousy, it really is effective. Again, just head over to my website, breakupbrad.com, and start by watching the free video there. You'll learn a bit more about that. Now, another thing that people are using that's been proven to be really effective, and I got tons of comments and email success stories to prove how well it does work, is the text message templates that I often suggest using after no contact ends, when you're starting to open the lines of communication with your ex again. Some of them are kind of famous by now. You might have read about them on the internet somewhere. My good reminder text, for example, seems to be really popular, and a lot of people talk about that one. But others are a little sneakier, and actually even more effective than that one. So the lady who sent this message that you're looking at here was one of the many clients that I really enjoyed working with, and talked to her for a couple of months. And I helped her basically just choose some text message templates to restart the communication that had been completely shut down with her ex, and make him start thinking about her in a positive way again. And as her email here shows how well that worked, obviously it was a huge success for her. And just 9 days after sending that message, one of my texts, they were back together. Now I'm sure that some of the other techniques that we talked about and that she used earlier helped with that outcome as well. But that one text message was definitely the breaking point. It kind of gave her ex permission to start, thinking about taking her back. And as you can see, she apparently now thinks I'm a hero, which is very flattering. Not true, I'm afraid. But I do just have a lot of experience helping people in this type of situation. And I know which texts and phrases work best for various situations. Now, if you want my personal advice on your scenario and figuring out what to say to your ex, you can sign up for my coaching program if I've got any slots. That's at breakupbrad.com/coaching. And if you sign up there, you can work one-on-one with me for as long as you need to until you've got your ex back in your arms. All right, here's a few more final YouTube comments here on my channel that also relate to some of the texts that I recommend in my program and in my videos. And Jennifer here, as you can see as well, she used a fun memory text message, and she credits that message for helping get her ex back into her life. He was thrilled, she said, when she received it, which is awesome news to hear. Congrats. And for Lexi, it was actually some tips that I offered in one of my older YouTube videos about what not to say to your ex in text messages that were really the key for her to winning her ex-man back. And sometimes actually that can be even more important than knowing what to do, because not knowing what you're doing can really lead to a mistake, unknowingly, or sending a bad text message that you thought was the right thing to say, but that actually is going to kill your chances for good. Now, obviously, thankfully for Lexi here, she saw that video of mine on YouTube in time, and she didn't make those kinds of mistakes, and now she's happily back together with her ex. All right, guys, I know this video is getting pretty long at this point, so I think I will wrap things up shortly here. And again, like I said, if you want to learn more about a lot of the tactics that I've talked about in this video that are proven, as you can see from the screenshots here, time and time again to help win your ex back, just visit my website, breakupbrad.com, and watch the free video on there. And of course, as always, if you've got a quick question for me, just leave it in the comments below this video, and I will do my absolute best to reply within a few days. And thank you, by the way, for all the support in the comments. I love reading them. You guys are all awesome, unlike most YouTube viewers. And I really appreciate hearing all your comments and success stories. So yeah, use those comments and keep them coming. And to wrap things up on this video, I'm just going to leave you with a few more testimonials here. I'm just going to shut up and leave you with the images. And these are just success stories, testimonials, which I'm going to put up on the screen here. So please feel free to just skip straight to my website, breakupbrad.com now if you want, or keep watching and you'll see a bunch more success stories and you'll see what's worked for a lot of my past clients and subscribers.